In 1956, a Swedish engineer named Sven Berge proposed something so radical it sounded insane: a tank without a turret. Generals laughed, experts shook their heads, and foreign observers called it a technical absurdity. A tank without a turret? That's not a real tank, but a self-propelled gun in disguise. How could such a vehicle aim or defend itself without the core feature of rotating its main gun? This idea flew in the face of every rule of armored warfare developed over decades. But 10 years later, this crazy concept wasn't just theory. It was a fully operational tank serving with the Swedish Army. And 20 years after that, British and American tank crews tested the Strv-103 and called it revolutionary. How did one man convince an entire nation to build a tank that broke every established norm? And why did this strange machine stay in service for nearly 4 decades, defying predictions of failure? To understand this, you have to appreciate the unique strategic realities Sweden faced during the Cold War. Encircled by superpowers and determined to stay neutral, Sweden's defense doctrine emphasized territorial defense in rough, forested, and snowy terrain.
The requirement was clear: develop a tank with a low silhouette for better concealment, thick frontal armor for survivability, and the mobility to quickly reposition in challenging landscapes. Removing the turret was the key innovation. The Strv-103 stood just 1.85 meters tall, exceptionally low compared to tanks of its era, making it a difficult target on the battlefield. The turretless design allowed engineers to integrate heavy, sloped frontal armor, approximately 110 millimeters thick, maximizing protection without adding excessive weight. The frontal plate was angled sharply, increasing the effective armor thickness and enhancing its ability to deflect incoming fire. But stripping away the turret presented a massive technical challenge: how to aim the main gun. The conventional approach of rotating the turret was impossible. Instead, the Strv-103 used its entire hull to aim. This was achieved through a sophisticated hydro-pneumatic suspension system that could raise, lower, and tilt the tank's body. To adjust gun elevation, the crew could pitch the tank forward or backward, literally tilting the entire vehicle.
For horizontal aiming, the tank could pivot in place on specially designed, independently driven running wheels that allowed precise rotation of the hull. Imagine a 34-ton armored vehicle performing a slow, deliberate dance on the battlefield to line up its shot. This requirement imposed considerable new complexity on the crew. The driver and commander had to coordinate their movements closely, executing precise maneuvers under fire to hit targets. The system demanded extensive training, but rewarded crews with a stable firing platform and a tank that slipped under enemy sightlines. The main armament was a 105mm rifled gun, comparable to the armaments of contemporary Western tanks. Despite being fixed in the hull, it fired the same advanced ammunition types, including armor-piercing, fin-stabilized discarding sabot rounds, high-explosive anti-tank shells, and smoke rounds, giving the Strv-103 a versatile offensive capability. To assist targeting, the tank was equipped with an advanced fire control system for its time. This included a laser rangefinder, elaborate ballistic calculators factoring in environmental and ammunition variables, and passive night vision optics, which enabled effective firing even during low-light operations. The propulsion system was another area of innovation. Instead of a traditional single engine, the Strv-103 combined a turbocharged diesel engine producing approximately 520 horsepower with 2 gas turbines producing around 150 horsepower each. This hybrid system delivered impressive acceleration and speed for a tank of its weight and size, while also allowing efficient fuel consumption during patrols or low-speed maneuvers. Driving the tank was not like any traditional MBT. The sophisticated steering system allowed the Strv-103 to rotate on the spot by controlling its independently powered road wheels. This smooth, precise rotation was essential to compensate for the lack of a turret traverse, letting the driver aim the entire tank during combat. The hydro-pneumatic suspension, besides aiming, improved cross-country mobility,
absorbing shocks across Sweden's rough terrain of forests, rocks, and winter ice.
The crew consisted of 3 highly trained individuals, commander, driver, and gunner. Each played critical roles, with the commander coordinating target acquisition and commanding maneuvering, the driver responsible for exact hull positioning, and the gunner handling firing and aiming systems. This triad demanded intense teamwork. Any misstep could mean missed shots or vulnerability in combat. Despite these unconventional features, the Strv-103 had some limitations. Its fixed gun and hull traverse method meant it was slower to engage multiple targets compared to turreted tanks, which can quickly traverse heading independently of hull direction. In fast-moving, fluid battles, this was a tactical drawback. However, the tank's primary role in Sweden's defense doctrine was ambushing and holding defensive positions rather than fast offensive breakthroughs, playing into the vehicle's strengths. Its low profile allowed for excellent concealment in hull-down positions behind natural cover, and its thick frontal armor offered credible protection against the most common anti-tank weapons of the Cold War era.
The remarkable suspension and propulsion system ensured the tank could navigate challenging terrain better than many peers. Where the Strv-103 truly stands out is in its longevity and specialized niche. It served from 1967 all the way into the early 2000s, nearly 4 decades, a remarkable lifespan for any armored vehicle, let alone with such an unconventional design. While many countries move toward larger, turreted tanks with ever-growing calibers and complex electronic targeting, Sweden stayed true to its doctrine and trusted the unique advantages of the S-tank. The tank's emphasis on defense reflected Sweden's geopolitical reality, a small nation surrounded by potential adversaries, relying on natural terrain and well-planned defenses over offensive blitzkrieg tactics. In this environment, the Strv-103 excelled. Its low silhouette made ambushes easier and harder to detect. Its thick frontal armor gave tank crews confidence to hold deadly choke points. The fixed gun didn't hamper its mission, since engagements were generally planned and deliberate rather than rapid-fire close-quarters chaos. Its crew had to be highly trained. Operating the vehicle was unlike traditional tanks. It was more like piloting an armored dance machine that required seamless communication between driver and commander. This coordination made the difference between life and death on the battlefield. The gunner relied heavily on advanced sighting systems and fire control to make each shot count, knowing a missed shot meant time-consuming repositioning. Another fascinating technical aspect was fuel management. Thanks to its hybrid diesel and turbine engine arrangement, the Strv-103 could balance fuel efficiency with bursts of high speed when needed. It had a top speed around 50 kilometers per hour, impressive for a turretless vehicle of its era, and demonstrated excellent cross-country capability over Sweden's rugged landscape. Despite its advantages, the Strv-103 presented challenges. Its unique layout complicated maintenance and repairs. Spare parts were specialized, and the hydro-pneumatic suspension needed skilled technicians. Also, the lack of turret limited flexibility in some combat situations, leading to its ultimate replacement by the modern turreted Strv-122 based on the Leopard 2 platform. However, the legacy of the Strv-103 is undeniable. It boldly broke away from accepted armored warfare conventions and showed how innovation could be tailored to strategic reality and terrain. It tested the very definition of what a tank is, proving that adaptation and unconventional thinking pay off in specific contexts. In the grand history of armored vehicles, the Strv-103 remains a symbol of Swedish ingenuity, an armored workhorse that danced around tradition and survived nearly 40 years on the front line. It reminds us that sometimes the best solution isn't to follow the crowd, but to build something radically different that fits your unique needs. If this deep dive into the Strv-103 fascinated you, make sure to like and subscribe for more in-depth stories of military technology that changed the battlefield. Got a weird or overlooked machine you want us to cover? Drop it in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
and see you in the next video.